fence posts along the beach.
Fence posts along, and then cracked sidewalks. And here you can see, so the beach is here. And you can see this is looking at the capstone from the top view down, rather than looking from the beach, looking up at the capstone. And that concludes.
Great.
That concludes the main building. You know, I have other photos for other buildings, but you know, just to give you a sense, that was the main administration building. Let me just show you one thing on the bathhouse building.
Bathhouse.
Yeah, we need to. Again, this is a wall, part of the extension of the wall from the main building leading towards the bathhouse. This is need repair, but what I wanted to focus in on this, because this I think is open now to the inside of the building. So every time it rains, we get some water in there.
Now, this actually, this goes back a long way. This was a tree that came down. Where are you, Frank? A tree came down, right?
Yes.
Hit this roof.
2006.
In 2006, tree came down, hit this roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it an insurance claim?
Yes.
Where's the money?
I don't know.
There was a blue tarp that was placed on that. It was supposed to be repaired. That's something. If you want to look into something, Bob, look into that.
But you can see that there's damage up here, here, here. Every time it rains, water's getting underneath there.
Yeah, but why do we let it go this long? I mean, it's 2006. I mean, we should have done something about that a long time ago.
Yes.
But something actually was done. There was a blue tarp.
I remember that blue
Right?
tarp for
And
a long
then
time.
we had this discussion, and we specifically said, well, there was an insurance claim, and it was supposed to be repaired.
So why was it never followed through?
I think there was a contract that actually was hired.
Let's look into it. That was obviously before this administration. That predates us.
But there was a contractor. Frank, you gotta help us on
No,
this.
they're not.
There was the tree came down. Right, the tree came down. The blue tarp was put up. The contractor was paid. Supposed to be that was repaired.
And they never repaired it.
Okay.
So wait, they got paid, they weren't repaid?
That's what I believe, yes.
Well,
All right, well,
we
look-
didn't say that unless we know.
Oh, well, we're not getting that any names, but I want a full report on this from you, Mr. DeLeo, and Mr. Nowotnik, if you give me support on this. Let's get a full report on this.
So I'd like to point out that in this photo, it's kind of interesting. Here's a gutter that kind of was supposed to run across there, so I don't know where this water is going when it rains. It probably pours down right here. There are further holes in the tile, causing some damage, and all along this wall on the inside, water is getting in and damaging the wall on the inside. Furthermore, if you look here, we have potentially a safety issue, because people can, if they want, walk underneath that. Generally, they won't. But you have loose tiles in here. Here's one hanging on the gutter that could, fall down.
Once again, we should have been made aware of this way before now.
Okay, so I guess that's probably most egregious of this, but just to show you a couple other views of the bathhouse. Here's tile that is missing, falling off, gutters that are missing. You can see that it's starting to cause rain damage here in some of these corners. You see rain leaking down here, causing problems. We've made some repairs by, I believe, the crew in Rytown Park. It's not matching the existing stucco, but at least it may be preventing some further damage from occurring. Further repairs. This is the entrance to the main men's locker room for the beach, and this is the way what the public sees when they walk into that. So this has been patched. There are cracks along here that need to be repaired. Probably this whole side needs to be ripped out and redone.
Well, obviously, this has been outlined in Lisa Easton's report.
Right.
And this is all part of this plan. So
It's all part of this plan.
I think we have a fair understanding of what we need to do we go forward. We're going to have to, if there's going to be any hope for this building and the adjacent building, there's gonna have to be an investment that needs to take place. And it has to happen sooner than later.
And this is from years of, I don't want to say neglect, but in essence, it hasn't been maintained properly. Bathroom fixtures inside the men's room. This is now downstairs behind underneath that roof that we said was leaking. This is the damage that is creating inside that wall. You can see all the roof and damage here, paint starting to peel. I don't know if there's any structural damage at this point, but all along that roof, the water is pouring down that wall and is damaging that wall.
I would think, well, all the staff that we have working at the beach, that someone should have reported some of this problems before now.
Well, you would think, but, and if they did report it, there's nothing like seeing that firsthand to see that.
Well, absolutely, but still,
Part of this
there are
actually-
eyes and ears.
Part of this was part of Lisa Easton's original report, which dates back 20 years ago, right?
No, 2005.
I'm sorry.
2004, 2005. So
Right.
what was it, Bishop? 2004, 2005?
2003, actually, I think
2003.
is the date of the report.
That's when she was doing the
That was
roof
when
tiles.
the
No, that was
master
the whole
plan
thing.
was
That was her
done.
master plan. And all of this was brought out back then. And then what happened, I think, if I remember correctly, is that there was a price tag that was associated with it. And it pretty much, I think it shocked everyone. It shocked the city of Rye, it shocked the town of Rye. They said, wait a second. But we're in a position now where we're going to need to make a decision.
So this is the ladies' room, and I think it just got a couple more shots here, and then that finishes the bathhouse. Yeah, so the bathhouse is done. So I have photos for the concession stand, a couple other places, for 10 Pearl Street, so I could show you.
Now, let's see 10 Pearl Street. I like Super Stand. Well, actually, quickly, can I see the concession stand very quickly? Just real quick.
All right, so this
What's
is...
this? Is this Seaside Johnny's? What's the
No,
concession stand?
I didn't
The
take
north
that.
concession
This
stand?
is the north, whatever.
Just
towards
real
Playboy.
quick. Let's just fire through these. Can you fire through them?
Sure. So here's a post that's actually not attached to the ground. It's holding up a roof overstructure where people go to pay to go into the park. And so that roof has, it's on its last leg, to tell you the truth. If you get a good storm, that's going to buckle and that roof may fall down.
Just quickly.
Yeah,
Was the
so
showers?
here's the back of that building.
Yep.
So here's a concession stand over
Yep.
here. You see, this is,
Yep.
if you touch that, you can actually push your finger into
Right.
that. It's all water damage.
Yep.
There's some sort of roof repair up there because there was some damage at some point in time. Doesn't look like it may have been done correctly. And that's really it for that
Great.
that area.
Thank you. All right, let's take a look. I'd like to look at 10 Pearl Street if we could quickly.
Sure.
Is that rain bucket, is that still in the office, or is that... Do you have a shot of Mr. Nowotny? The rain bucket, that's...
So, where do you want to start? Basement?
Yeah.
So here's a basement.
Again, just quickly, let's take us through
Sure.
this.
So this is the heating system. Two heating systems, and there was some water damage here when we had a flood about a month or so ago. There's the stairs leading down into the basement. And then I got Nick Mecca.
Honorable Mr. Mecca?
What's he doing down there?
So we have some
secret
wiring
files.
opposed here. And he was opening the wall,
People don't pay the
opening
taxes.
some of the doors.
What's that white thing there?
That's your
on the
phone
bottom?
system.
Electronics.
No, below.
Slip that under
Yeah?
the roof.
Yeah, what's that?
That's
It's the top of a
top of a pail.
paint bucket.
Paint bucket. So here's where we had some of our records kept, and due to the flood, it got too humid in there, and they got moved out
Where are they now?
On the first floor.
on the first floor. And this is what that room looks like, and it looks like there was some damage here.
Why did the flood happen again?
Some pump went, I believe. Right?
We had a sump pump failure simultaneous with a substantial rainstorm, 6 inches of rain. The combination of that overwhelmed the systems downstairs.
Okay, another record room. And you see there's damage along the floor.
Did we manage to save most of the records?
Yes.
We actually have some files stored here. I think these are Mitch's files.
Yeah, those are mostly assessment files.
Other files. Here's some door. I think this is leading to the backside stairwell.
That's the rear stairs.
And the rear stairs, and this suffered. The sump pump is actually over here somewhere. So
Yeah.
we suffered some water damage on this wall, and it hasn't been fully repaired yet. And then looking up the stairwell through that door we saw before, and again water damage that still needs to be repaired. And this is,
Way off there.
that's your office, I think. So water damage here, tiles missing, paint damage on the wall from water, water damage, continuing water damage on the ceiling, missing tiles, missing light fixture covers.
Well, that's cosmetic.
Yeah, some of this is cosmetic. This is the second floor?
Sure.
All right, so I think,
Tiles.
so I think we get
damage.
the picture, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
But now, what's the status of the first floor where the assessment office used to be? We had to scurry them out of there because we're afraid they were contaminated with some horrible disease. What was?
Okay, there's no disease, but
What was it? What?
well, there was rain coming in because
The wall needs to be pointed.
wall needed to be repaired.
Have we done that?
No,
No, that's why they're not
Are you
there.
gonna print this out, Bob, and give us a...
but what we did was we went in, we reconditioned the
photos, I
walls,
could give
we
you
sealed the walls in from the inside, we painted the room, recarpeted it, and we put all the old records into that first floor room.
All right, so we're looking at $1.8 million for 10 Pro. Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
In total. Or then it's spread over a 5-year period. Now, as I started to say, the first year expenditures are really to address emergency and or safety or OSHA requirement issues.
What are the bridges? Could you just talk us through the bridges, the big expenditure on the bridges?
Okay. So bridges, actually, oh well. Let me get out here for a second. So bridges are here.
Jefferson Avenue. Was that we're finally getting whacked with that? Is that what's happening?
That's gonna start in 2012.
So
It is
that's
gonna start 2000. Is that right? And we have no way of getting around that. What happened to all the potential financing, Mr. Nardi, for that?
The financing is going towards, we have some financing going towards it.
I thought well, are you going to report on this tonight?
I'm not,
Well, why don't you come up now and talk about it as long as we're talking about, sorry. I thought there was some hope of getting the Army Corps of Engineers or somebody to pay for this.
Well, I know they have some financing, but I'm not sure the amount right now. I didn't have anything down for tonight for Jefferson Avenue, so it kind of hit me like by surprise.
No, sorry, yeah.
That's all right. But the project is going to be $3 million plus.
$3 million.
Yeah, $3 million plus for that.
Oh, but we
project.
got $2 million here. Is that $3 million is for
Well, the
every?
figures I put in here are our portion of that 3 to 4 million, so it's about
Yeah.
half.
So you were just put the full amount just to be sure. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's a
it's-
$4 million project, which we have.
Three to four, somewhere in that area.
Right.
Because they had a couple of problems where the silt on the riverbed is deeper than what they expected. They had to do more core drilling samples. They had to do more than what was expected. So there's a couple of things that they had to do extra. So
This is one thing. Well, if we eliminate the town of Rye, who takes on that obligation? All right. So, but and why do we have this obligation again?
State of New York.
the state of New York.
Mandates.
Towns control bridges and cemeteries. Good job.
And we share that with the town of Mamaroneck or the village of Mamaroneck?
Village of Mamaroneck.
The bridges in the village of Mamaroneck, it's a town responsibility, but there was a stipulation, because there's several bridges that on some of them we split the responsibility. I don't think this is one of them.
No,
50/50,
it's
yeah.
50, this one's 50/50.
And sorry, is this an ongoing repair, or is this something to do with flood damage?
This was the damage.
Was it
This was
damage?
damage, this wasn't ongoing. This
It's
is-
flood damage.
Yeah, but this
That's
is-
why I thought we had some chance of
That
getting money
was-
for
But
that.
Jefferson Avenue Bridge has been in disrepair for many years now.
Long-term,
You know,
long-term
this is-
disrepair.
This is
So
a
it
big
was built-
project, and
it
it's
was
just
built
now
in-
that it's coming to a head.
Well, that's what I'm saying, okay. And it's a main thoroughfare, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is it closed now, or is it open to the
No,
public?
it's still open. They have one whole sidewalk closed, the whole length of the bridge.
That's right, I remember.
Ultimately, Jefferson Avenue takes you from Mamaroneck Avenue all the way to Boston Post Road. So you talk about a thoroughfare, that's it.
So the bridge was built in 1931, and typically there's a 75-year life on some of these bridges. And that's the way they build them, for 75. So 31 to 2011, it's about 80 years. It's beyond its standard life or useful life, so.
And does the $2 million take us another $7 million, $4 million take another 75 years, or?
I'm not sure, but I would think if they're doing a complete replacement, it'd probably be 75 years before you have to repair it again.
We're going to get 75-year financing for this, Mr. Burns? What do we get, 30-year?
Next meeting, I'll have more on the Jefferson Avenue.
Oh, great.
I'll be-
So do you want to buy a bridge?
Yeah, exactly right.
Why don't we put a toll on the bridge?
I think it put a toll, exactly right, man, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, public-private partnership.
I have to open the bridge every day to my
We can hire a family of 12 to run the bridge.
To live under there,
Right.
just in
I love
case
it.
they didn't pay.
So that looks like that's our big risk, though, is the Jefferson Avenue Bridge.
Yes, that's our big project.
And then in terms of bridges, other than that, yeah, that's basically the bridge expense.
So the Jefferson Avenue Bridge comprises most of year 1 and year 2
Right.
bridge totals, or a portion of that.
Exactly.
And then we have the Guyan Creek that we're doing a repair, and the Otter Creek, which is going to need a repair.
Now, do you want to, well, you want to make your report now then, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, well, the way I have, Southbury,
Yeah, Mr. Nardi, go ahead, yeah.
want me to do mine? Okay.
Yes, please.
Southbury Avenue Bridge over Guyan Creek. McNamee Construction has requested a project work order on the Town of Rye letterhead for a contract. They don't want to use the bid form as a contract. They
So
want-
just remind me, could you go, where are your numbers? Do we have these in your numbers here?
Yeah, that bridge was 20... I
think I saw it, right?
26,500, I believe.
Exactly, you have 27,000.
27,000, okay. All right, so they want a work order.
Have we assigned a work order on this already?
No, I just found all this information today.
Okay.
I've been going back and forth with them,
Okay.
you know. I told them I needed a start date. I had to get one.
Guys,
because-
gentlemen, let's have one meeting, please.
So what's going to happen is the contract is going to be worded by Onum and Kirby, because this way they can do the detail of their specifications, the way they want the repair done. And then Brian Smith from Onum and Kirby will come down. I'm going to meet with him this week. He's going to type it up. He'll get it. We'll put it on a letterhead, and then we'll send it to McNamee, and that'll be his contract.
So now, I apologize, I get confused with all these different bridges. Have we been talking about Guyan Creek before? Or is
Yes.
This, yeah, that's okay.
This is the one that Westchester
We've been talking
County had.
about- right, okay.
Yes. We have a breach on the northwest wing wall. We have a breach on that has to get repaired. McNamee Construction, after they have their work order and sign the contract, they're going to proceed work on Monday, August 22nd. So I got a date out of them when they're going to start.
Have we budgeted for all this year?
We budgeted some of the Otter Creek Bridge repair.
Well, right now we're talking about Guyan Creek. Do we have Guyan Creek budgeted this
Guyan
year?
Creek.
Guyan
Yeah,
Creek.
we have some budgeted. We didn't budget all of it. I thought the thought process there was we take it out of contingency.
All right.
We had 15,000 in there. I think we actually agreed on a 20-some-odd thousand.
27,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
round off 27.
So that was going to come out of contingency.
And do we have Otter Creek budgeted?
Otter Creek, I don't even have an estimate yet. That's the other thing on my report is they're working on the plans for the repair. Bishop was able to get a set of plans from Otter Creek. They're in the office. Armin Kirby has a set. They want to go at low tide. They want to compare what was installed as to what's in the plans. So this way, they want us to make sure it was built as
This
per
was
plans.
recently done. I remember, what, $750,000, right?
Yeah, it was a $750,000 project when it was done.
And it was done,
Well, from what I
2 years ago.
understand, they did just the bridge. They didn't do the abutments. So they weren't placed. They didn't touch those. They just did the actual bridge itself. They didn't do the walls.
what's the problem now?
Well, the same thing as at Guyan Creek where the wall is collapsing. It actually, the ground up above collapsed in. I had Frank put some stones and some item 4 in there a couple of times to keep it so it doesn't sink through, but that's only a temporary fix. The state
Are
came
people
down.
going to cross the bridge?
Well, this is off the bridge. This is on the grass area. So,
And the state came down, you
the
said?
state came down, they yellow flagged the bridge. The yellow flag is good for a year. They're going to come back in a year and reevaluate the bridge. If the repair is not completed, they'll either yellow flag it again or they'll red flag it. And if they red flag it, they automatically close the bridge. But I called the inspector who came out. I told him that we're working on it. He says, no problem. He said, as long as I know you're working on it, but you've got a year. So
And so this is, the 25,000 is just a guesstimate at this point.
I would say probably about the same, because this is actually a little smaller area where the Guyan Creek's a larger area. It's a 12-foot span,
And it's the same problem.
and it's the same problem.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
Just that with the Otter Creek, there's no tonnage sign, which we have to have. And when Onum and Kirby goes and they take a look at what's built according to what the plans say, they'll be able to estimate, put a tonnage, give me a tonnage so we can get a sign made for that.
Great,
And then that's one less thing we have to worry about with the state.
wonderful.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Nardi.
You're welcome.
You can go home early tonight if you want now.
Stick around for a little bit.
Thanks so much.
So finishing up here, so we went through some of these numbers. I just want to stress it one more time that the first year expenditures are just to...
Sorry, could you mind just taking us through Crawford Park, 1.2 million bucks? What does that go towards?
That's for 5 years though.
I understand, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what are the needs there.
So main house, there's about $235,000.
Wow, 885 over time?
Yep.
And what does that do for us?
Hold on. So this is for the main house.
Jeez, how did you get all that? Is this the detail that we got, or is this you?
This is a detail.
That we received from the architects?
Yes.
Okay,
So
good.
this is the detail, exterior repairs, restoration, and
Wow.
rehabilitation. So ADA accessibility, window and door repairs, et cetera, gutter repairs. Here's a breakdown of all the costs.
Beautiful.
Specific.
100-year-old house.
And this is Easton Associates who did this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Great.
here's the exterior, here's interior.
Is this like a mega list, or is this...
Well, this is a needs analysis,
Right.
and if you're looking at a plan that covers, let's say, the next 10 years, you also have to anticipate failure. So some of these things may not be in a failure condition at the moment, but
Right.
3-5 years out, they have a possibility
Sure.
or probability of failure.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. And what about the garage? Is there anything major there? I saw the William Street garage, 246, I think, right?
Relatively small, it's mostly roof.
Mostly roof?
The garage expenses.
All right.
There are some facade repairs and foundation repairs.
Okay. Great. So, bottom line is the town has a $14.2 million capital expenditure need on a $3.5 million budget. So, Mr. Noto, how do you solve that conundrum? This is a haiku. What are the Japanese? What do they call it? A haiku. Is this a haiku? Not a haiku. It's a
So,
sort of like one. What does one hand clapping sound like? Sorry.
so capital improvement funding.
Oh, great. Oh,
Funding
sorry.
options must abide by the recently enacted 2% property tax cap and should not unduly burden the residents. Some funding options may include issuing bonds or bands to spread the costs out over 20 or 30 years. To spread that out, quick back-of-the-envelope calculation says that could run, interest charges alone might run $700,000 a year.
Is that interest and amortization?
That's just interest.
That's just interest.
That's not amortization. It could run well over $700,000 a year in year 6, which is substantially more than 2% property tax cap. So that option may not be available to us. You can enter into some public-private partnerships. You can conduct some sales leasebacks of buildings, hold some fundraisers, obtain some grant monies, or a combination of all of the above or some other alternatives.
Well, I just want to thank. Well, is that your last slide?
I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
So the next steps, are really to explore some of those options, in public, private partnerships, sales leasebacks, fundraisers, grant money, perhaps establish a committee to review and recommend a funding option for each town property. You don't have to use the same one for each of the properties. You can use a different option for any one of the different properties within the town, and explore additional revenue generation options as well. And that's the questions.
Well, I first of all want to thank you for this comprehensive report. I missed him taking you hours and hours. I mean, how many hours do you take?
I don't know, but if I charged you, it would be well exceeding my 4 years of...
I mean, exactly. I'm not trying to, but I'm sure you bill your service out. It's called $500 an hour
Right.
as a consultant, and I just might our second meeting tonight, and I have to say that's as good a public presentation as I've seen. And as in-depth of analysis I've seen, I have to say, thank you very much. I think this board is lucky to have you on it. This is the second time I'm saying this tonight. Mayor French made some spectacular, some really insightful analysis into the Rye-Town Park operational situation. And quite frankly, it's one thing to see a number on a piece of paper, another thing to see the analysis that went into it. You obviously visit every property, and the photos, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And so I want to thank you very much for that, all the hard work that went into this. Politicians aren't flavor of the month, but, I got to say that just was a lot of hard work and a real benefit to our community. So thank you, Mr. Nioras, for doing that.
Good job, Bob.
Good job.
Thank you.
Now, can we go to your solutions page? Because I want to begin to discuss some of the solutions. And, I want to begin to discuss them, at least launch the discussion this evening. When I look at what we've done over the last 3 years, we've got the operating results, down. We've got 3 years of expenditure history. I have a pretty good idea what it cost us to run the town. But it's not just the past administration. It's 50 years of administrations that have let this infrastructure deteriorate. This didn't happen overnight. And I think it's an absolute travesty, as I said in the earlier meeting, to let that Rye-Town Park infrastructure deteriorate the way it has. This building, we make fun of it, but Mr. Nowotnik's constant companion for the first year and a half in office was a rain bucket. And we did have to move the assessment office because of the worries of the quality of the infrastructure on the first floor. Now, Mr. Marquis does have the best view in Portchester from this building, but now he does. But in the old days, so I think we really have to come up with a strategy for assessing what we want to do with this infrastructure. Now, in terms of, I've talked previously about a sale leaseback, and I'd like to discuss, Mr. Noda, what do we need to do to put out an RFP for a sale leaseback? Does the board have to authorize that, or
Sale leaseback for what? For
this building right here, 10 Pearl Street?
I think something of that nature, the board should authorize it. But it really is just an RFP, so you're not committed to anything. You're just
Right.
exploring
Well, I'd
potential
like to
options.
discuss with the board tonight, we haven't discussed it obviously beforehand, this open